If you're someone who's scared of your emotions and you don't want to feel sad or angry, or you only want to feel good or light, this is for you. When we start awakening, we realize that we have to go do the shadow work, right? We start going into the deeper parts of ourselves, the parts that we wanted to suppress or we have suppressed for a very long time. And so there's almost like this polarity, like because we've suppressed or avoided these deeper parts of ourselves, we go into the polarity of actually going in and diving into all of that in a deeper sense. And we can sometimes get lost in that. A lot of healers and a lot of star seeds get lost in that human experience. But we're pulling out of that now, because especially with what's happening on the planet and reconnecting ourselves to Mother Earth, we are reminded that we're not here just to be stuck in the density. There is always polarity, and we also deserve to be in the light and to enjoy our lives and to be prosperous and resourced. So we're here then to pull ourselves out of the density. And how do we do that? We understand our emotions in a different way than what we've probably understood before. Reality of emotions are that your body is a receptor for what's happening in the environment. So there's data, there's energy coming at your body all of the time. And your body, in a sensory way, is picking up, touch, smell, sight, seen, the unseen. And that's more important, honestly. That's a whole nother conversation that we need to talk about. But there's so much in the unseen that we are sensing in our bodies. And if that freaks you out, then never mind. Like I said, we need to talk about that. But there's a spider on the spiders have just been everywhere on my notes, everywhere. They've been everywhere right now. Okay, so your body is actually not creating emotions. It's responding to sensations depending on your environment, your external environment and your internal. Okay, so there's also the kingdom within. There is millions and billions of bacteria and cells and light. There's space within our body, in our cells. We are actually more space than density. Instead of believing that you can't control your emotions, that's not true. You can, and you actually design your emotional experience, because it goes identity, belief, experience, and then projection. What our identity is, who we believe we are and who we believe the world to be, will filter how we experience the world. How we filter that data coming into us is our identity. And then what we believe is happening, the story that we form based off of our identity that has filtered the data coming into our experience, into our vessel, is then narrating what's happening, right? It puts meaning, it creates a story about what we're experiencing. And not only what that means about the world, but what it means about ourselves. So then we start feeling. That's when we finally start feeling. We might feel sad or angry. So if somebody's talking to us, right, and they're coming to us and they're angry, if I have an identity that says people mistreat me and people don't respect me, and then I have to be a bulldog in the world in order to gain respect, then I will immediately start, because this happens in milliseconds, right? I will start having a reaction to this experience in the external world, external to me. And this person coming at me saying angry things, or they're just expressing anger or whatever they're doing. And I may instantly start putting on my armor, getting into this facade, this role of bulldog, so that I tell them, oh, I'm not the one to mess with. Or I take it personally. Hey, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you treating me like this? And I laugh because it's like, it's so easy to see externally, but this is what we're struggling with when we struggle with our emotions, is understanding the mechanisms that are happening. And so then I start feeling angry myself, or I start feeling actually like all of the fear from when I was a child or somewhere else in my life where I felt like I couldn't affect change, or I couldn't protect myself, or I wasn't allowed to be angry. I wasn't allowed to have my own experience, which made me angry, right? And so then all of that is what forms the identity. And that's the density of our experience on this earth, because we've attached to these memories and it lives in our body. And all of this is what I teach you when we come to drop into being and in this modern mystic in our courses, because it's really important that we reattune, we understand that the body doesn't create emotions that you are not in control of. It's actually the identity that filters the experience, and then your body will start responding with its own beliefs, thoughts, feelings, and then emotions, which activate your entire biological system to react in a certain way. You know, there's a lot of us who could experience the same thing without having the same emotional reaction. And so emotions are actually messages. They're messengers to what am I actually deeply feeling in my core? What's going on in my internal experience? So this is the real takeaway, and I need you to really, this is what you can meditate on, write about, journal about, right? And please do this. Like, this is your activation. We're talking about it now, and then you can do this after you pause the video, before you scroll on to the next thing, okay? Because we're done with that. We're here to really activate. And so, 1, I want you to go through each emotion. I want you maybe pick the 3 or 5 emotions that you feel most intensely, that maybe you avoid, that you don't want to feel, that you want to suppress. And then pick the 3, 5 emotions, maybe just 3 of each, that you chase, that you want to feel, that you feel like you have to feel, or you have to do things in order to feel those things, right? Both of those polarities are very interesting, because when we avoid emotions, it's because we have this identity or this belief that we can't handle it, and that there's something there in those emotions that we're not strong enough to feel, or equipped to feel, or skilled enough to feel. And again, with Drop Into Being and this modern mystic, we are building the skill of feeling so that you can alchemize what it is that's underneath and in our inner world, because that is what's sabotaging your life. That is what's causing you to give up on relationships, or give up on jobs, or not go after a promotion, or to hide and not go out and socialize when you're feeling lonely, and then you don't have friends, right? Like, these are the very real struggles that we sensitive beings, starseeds, or those that, our childhood was stolen from us because of childhood trauma. We never formed a sense of ourselves. So our sense of self is unstable. And so we're rebuilding that sense of self as a sensing being. And that's what we do here. So if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe and comment, and make sure you let us know that you're here so we can invite you and welcome you into this community. And then know that we have resources on our website, This Modern Mystic. Of course, there will be links below where you can get started with this journey. So back to your emotions. So you wrote down the 3 emotions that you avoid, and then the 3 that you chase. I really want to feel healthy. I really want to feel peace. I really want to feel wealthy. I want to be a millionaire, right? Whatever it is. And then settle into your being. Quiet your mind. Drop in. I'm sorry, my husband is doing he's building a fort for the kids outside. Okay. So no matter what the noises are around us, right? We drop into our being, and nothing is bothering us. there's nothing to bother here, because we are in our own experience and in our own divinity. When I'm connected to the divine, I am unbothered. There's nothing that can touch us here. There is nothing that can reach you. You're safe, you're secure, you're capable, you're sovereign, you're free. And in this space, I want you to ask yourself, when I am avoiding anger, what am I really avoiding? What am I scared of if I were to feel angry? What do I really feel under the anger? And then let that settle in and steep. There are many emotions underneath. Pause it if you don't want to hear me talk. Pause this video if you need to, just stay in that experience and let that wisdom surface. I encourage you to do that. Please do. And just because there's many of us who have had a hard time with emotions, we've been suppressing our whole lives, really. We're building this emotional intelligence. So a lot of times underneath anger is helplessness, self-judgment, a need to protect ourselves or someone around us, feeling stuck. Maybe we feel like we can't affect change, and so the only thing we really can do is get angry. Or maybe somewhere in our childhood, or we learned that actually being angry is the only thing that seemed to work. Regret that we're covering up, shame, grief. So with these three emotions that you have, that maybe are lower emotions, right? The ones that you avoid, I want you to ask yourself, if they were to talk to me, what would they be saying? What are they telling me? Again, pause the video until this is done for you. And then we're going to go into the happy emotions, the emotions that you're chasing. So the insight to these emotions that we're going to cultivate right now is the understanding that these are the realities that you're learning to build in your life. One is, you can always give yourself permission to feel that way right now. You can feel joy. You can feel ease, peace. You can feel wealthy, even when your external experience makes you believe it's not there. And I know that sounds like a load of shit. Because I've been there, and I still am there sometimes with the things that I want, right? So let me give you an example from my own life. I am a very introverted, these are the things that I identify with. And I see myself as a very sensitive being. And so for my whole life, I've just wanted to kind of be left alone. I didn't have the best childhood where I wasn't shown that I could be loved, adored, and celebrated for who I am. And so I learned to just go in my room, and honestly, I would write, create stories, draw. I went into my own little world. And maybe a lot of you resonate with that. For me, the problem became when I became an adult, and I don't want to be lonely anymore, but I didn't know how to hold friendships or create friendships or be out in the world and not be socially insecure, or to feel like the world was so dangerous that I couldn't go out there. I didn't feel safe to be around people. And that is where we imprison ourselves, and that's where we enlighten what's in the shadow so that we can be set free. I do this on one-on-one work. If that's something you're interested in, it is what I love to do. I'm built for this. Oh God, I wish I could tell you why and how I'm built for this, but I'm not going to go into that. Right now we're going back to how you can cultivate these positive things that you're chasing now. And that's the thing about gratitude. Another annoying thing on the awakening journey, because remember, we're human, so this is really how it feels sometimes. It feels annoying when you read, or you listen to a guru and they say, oh, just be grateful for what you have, when what you have feels like fucking shit. I have been there. I am there often. Like I said, I don't have exactly what I would love to have, what I desire, or what I feel like I deserve, right? And so the conundrum is, because gratitude, the reason we're told to have gratitude on the journey is because our mind finds ways to be upset. One of the mechanisms of the mind is confirmation bias. So it will look around into the world and it will look into our experience and it'll make sense of what we're feeling to confirm what we already believe. So if we want to be wealthy, but we believe that we have good luck and that people don't pay us well and that we don't really know how to make money, then, or that we just don't have the resources that we need, then our brain will look for not the wealth that we're building, but all of the places where we already feel lack. It's where we feel stuck, where we feel like, I didn't have enough to do this thing today, or I didn't have enough time, I didn't have enough money, I don't have enough money to go start that business. Your brain is finding the confirmation, the data to confirm what you already believe is true, which is that you don't have the money. And so then, when we're chasing these things, chasing these higher emotions, quote unquote, or these better experiences that we want, wealth, abundance, love, joy, acceptance, friends, whatever it is, when we are chasing these things, you're believing that it's already not within you. And so when we just sit there and experience it as if it's already there, and this is where that personal example I was going to share comes from. As a mom, as an introverted mom who gets easily overwhelmed, and I have 2 little kids right now, and we have older kids, it could be really easy for me to be overwhelmed by this season in my life. But I decided, you know what? My kids are going to be here. They're here, and I love them, and I love being a mom. But I'm not going to wait till they're 18. I can't wait till they're 18 or 20 or 25 before I feel like I can have some peace, and I can't wait until I'm alone to feel peaceful. And so what I had to do is say, I have to feel peaceful now in the experience I have with whatever it is now. And by golly, that was an awakening in itself. You see, these awakenings, these enlightenment, these moments happen all the time. It's not like in a minute our whole reality changes. No. Enlightenment is these little moments where a shackle becomes off of our own idea of who we think we are. And then we see that one of the bars on the prison that we've made for ourselves is actually loose. And if we can just break that open, or that the door itself is already open, or that the keys are laying right there, if you just grab them and unlock the door. But then what happens? Then we have to be the person who steps outside the door. We have to be the one that is no longer identified with being the prisoner or being stuck, being upset, being ill, being unloved, so that we can step outside and be well, loved, wealthy, enjoying our life. To actually experience the feelings that and the experience that we chase, those 3 that you wrote down. You can realize that they're here already, and then look for all of the reasons in your life that you already are abundant, that you already have that peace in your life, that you already have joy, that you already have love. The world and the love, like Mother Earth and our experience, the way that the world works is there is always a spectrum happening. The full spectrum of humanity is already happening, from the worst of the worst to the best of the best. It comes down to you seeing it, you allowing it into your experience. because you believe it's true for you. That is how we cultivate our reality. Okay, I'm gonna choose and really soak in all of those peaceful experiences. I'm gonna soak in those moments where my husband loves me, instead of not even seeing it because I don't even make eye contact, because I believe that love is hard and dangerous, right? So coming back to your 3 things that you suppress, emotions that you suppress, I want you to imagine that these are just now in your briefcase, or maybe they're like 3 keychains on your purse or on your keys, and they're your new best friend. These emotions that you've been suppressing, you're going to become curious. You're going to start saying, what is it that you're trying to tell me today? What is it that you're trying to tell me right now? Thank you for showing up so that I can see something deeper in myself. And then with the 3 emotions that you're chasing, that you want to be, start seeing where you already are those things right now. And if it shows you that maybe I'm not where I need to be with it right now, though, what identity shifts, what beliefs, what realities do you have to know about yourself? If as that wealthy person, what behaviors, thoughts, feelings would you no longer allow yourself to indulge in? If you had a healthy, happy home and loving family and marriage, what emotions, beliefs, behaviors, beliefs about yourself, stories about yourself, would you no longer allow yourself to indulge in, so that you could be the identity, you could be the part of yourself, the part that is already in existence, because everything is existing, that already exists, and you tune into, like a radio, you're tuning into that reality for yourself. And it can happen fast. It does happen fast when you know and believe that it's true for you. And that's just the way to step outside the prison. The door is open. And if we are going to be free, then we change the identity. We don't change the emotions. That's a down the line thing, remember? We say, I am the identity of the one who is free. I am free. I am well. And we start walking outside. That's what changes our actions and our feelings. When we know that we are free, that is when we step outside of the prison that we've made, or that other people put us in as a child when we didn't have the free will. Sometimes that does happen. However, I know this is so hard and I want to cry. Because it doesn't feel like we're free, especially that child who said, well, I was put in here and you probably were. I was. We didn't have the conscious awareness. We didn't have the maturity in our mind to know that we could. And even if we tried to, there were still people around us who had the authority, who had the control over our material, our body, to enact their will on us. And that's not freedom. And even as a child, I'm stumbling because it's so hard to go through some of this. It's so hard to talk about it because the mind is so tricky. So I'm going to shelve this for right now, and I'll make a part 2 that you can go watch directly. It's going to be a visualization, and exercise where you can experience what I'm trying to say, because I can't put it into words. However, as an adult, or even as a teenager, we do need resources to be free, to free ourselves. However, to get those resources, there are ways that we can free ourselves mentally ahead of time, so that we start building the resources, so that we can kind of lattice. You build that ladder out of the hole, and if you can just build enough of a ladder to just get ourselves out of that hole, then we are free. But we're always free to build the ladder. We're always free in our mind to choose what we believe. And so even when it feels like we're stuck because we don't have the resources, well, what can you do? What can you do with where you are right now to free your mind in your own internal experience? How do you shift the identity? We've gone through this in this video. How do you change how you believe about yourself in the world? How do you see yourself already as free? And when you see yourself as free, what now are the decisions and beliefs, thoughts, feelings, the self-control, the dominion, the fortitude that you now have? How do you enact that? What will you do now? Today, right now, what will you do to then build the new stepping stones into your new life until you're ultimately free? That's it. So tell me, what are some of those first stepping stones that you're creating in your mind and maybe in your reality, if you can? What are those? Thank you for being here with me.